Well, that must have been a pretty depressing study. The fate of those who reject Christ, their hopeless, pointless end is depressing. The first generation dying off. And if that was the end of Numbers, it would have been a very depressing book. But I hope you've read chapter 21. I hope you've seen a breath of fresh air. Because things are looking up if you've read this chapter. In chapter 20 was surrounded by people dying, Miriam and Aaron. This chapter, on the other hand, is surrounded by victory. The beginning and end of the chapter, the Lord gives Israel victory. Especially the first one, when the king of Arad, of the Canaanites, comes and attacks them. It's in the end of verse 3. The name of the place was called Hormah, which was where they suffered defeat the last time. It's interesting, isn't it? 40 years ago, they were defeated there. Now they have victory. Things are looking up. Verses 4 to 9, again, things are looking up. It sounds grumbling. The people spoke against God and against Moses. Why have you brought us up out of Egypt? God punishes them. He sends fiery serpents. And yet what happens this time? Verse 7. And the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us." Did you hear that? These people actually confess their sin. That's a change. We haven't seen that before. And Moses makes this bronze serpent, the image of Christ. And at the end of verse 9, if a serpent bit anyone, he would look at the bronze serpent and live. People are actually trusting God's forgiveness. A change. Then we get verses 10 to 20, the people traveling around Edom. You will notice from the indentation in your ESV that there's a few poems, a few songs. They're singing songs. Now, they're not quite chart toppers that we know, but what do you do if you're singing? You're not grumbling. There's a change here in these people. And then they get to Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who attacks them, and they defeat him, and they possess his land. So this whole chapter, people are repenting. People are possessing land, which is what it was all about in the first place, right? To get to the promised land. We're not there yet, but they're possessing land. And you read this chapter and you think, wow, things are really changing. Things are looking up. Now, why is that? Why is that? Well, we're 40 years on, aren't we? The Israel is no longer the same Israel. That will get clearer as we go on in the next few weeks. But there's one more reason why things are looking up. One more reason to do with God. And that's what we're going to look at next week. So make sure you do come back for that.